but I'm going to tell you, anywhere you stop, like you could even stop at the Laredo Taco Company at a Stripes gas station, and you will get some really good tacos because somebody's abuelita's back there making tortillas. All right. These are not store-bought tortillas.
Raquel, can you see what my hat says?
SHSU basketball. Love it. Eat 'em up, cats. Are you from Huntsville? Did you go to school there?
Sister, I went to Sam Houston State for 4 years, graduated with a Bachelor of Fine Arts in radio, television, and film.
Here we go. Do we even need to be a part of the interview? You guys just go.
Right.
I think radio class. We might have sat in the same DJ booth.
No, sweetheart. Listen, let me tell you something about the DJ booth that I sat at. It was the smallest radio. You sat in the Dan Rather studio booth, did you? It was the Dan Rather School of Broadcasting, right?
I did.
Kenny's a little older.
Just a little, but Sam Houston, it's a very old university as well. So
Statman Crash. Sorry, this is going to be the Raquel and Kenny show for the next 30 minutes. You good with that?
I can handle that real easy. We get so many weird looking stock car drivers to see a woman wrestler. I can handle that real easy.
A badass, yes.
Yeah. Well, again, this is absolutely fantastic. Raquel Rodriguez, NXT champion, a rising WWE superstar, joining us here in the Freak Nation. We'll get to the Phoenix gig here momentarily, but again, sharing the roots of Sam Houston State, Huntsville, Texas. I know where you're from. We have a place in South Padre Island. We have a place there for 15 years. RGV is like a home to us. So help me out though, man. I was recommended, I think it was called Los Leones in La Fiera for some of the best tacos. Is that true?
La Feria. Yes. Los Leones does have very good food. La Feria is actually a very, very small town that my mother went to high school in as well. So I attended elementary and middle school and my first year of high school in La Feria. It really has a special place in my heart because that's pretty much home for us. My grandma still lives down the road in Mercedes, Texas as well.
Well, you didn't answer my question. What's the best what's the best taco spot? What is it? West of the 69 in Harlingen. Come on, help me out here, man. I'm looking for it when I go down there, Raquel.
I would go to Los Leones in La Feria. They definitely have good tacos, but I'm going to tell you, anywhere you stop, like you could even stop at the Laredo Taco Company at a Stripes gas station, and you will get some really good tacos because somebody's abuelita's back there making tortillas. All right. These are not store-bought tortillas. They make the dough by hand. They roll them out. They make everything that is served up there. And I honestly, that's the best memory I have with my grandpa is stopping at this gas station, getting a potato and chorizo breakfast taco, and then he dropped us off at school. It was the best.
Oh, that's a breakfast of champions before school. I like that.
But she's right. You don't think of a gas station, Valero with stripes in the back of the Valero with great tacos, enchiladas. But that's true. You roll in there. That stuff is legit. So they hire out abuelitas to come in there and do it up right.
Oh yeah, they sure do. And it's so good because these tacos are huge. I know when I'm traveling or whatnot, I get these tacos and they're the tortillas are like this big. My grandma and all of these ladies in these gas stations, they make tortillas about this big. So you're getting a huge taco for maybe $1.50, $2, and it is absolutely delicious. They have fresh salsa. And Laredo Taco Company should just hire me right now.
Yeah, they should. Future sponsor. Now, wait a minute. You're in fantastic shape. Are you allowed to eat these every day?
Yeah. No, I'm not allowed to eat these every day, sadly. And I do make tortillas as well. My grandma showed me how to make them. But thank you to Florida because it's really hard to find good tacos in certain areas of Florida. So it really works out for my diet that I'm not in Texas right now.
There you go. Yes.
Phoenix.
Doomsday has arrived for the Scottish Warrior.
Witness Drew McIntyre battle Karrion Kross and don't miss Liv Morgan live in Phoenix this Saturday. Tickets available now.
And again, on that note, when we talk to UFC athletes or wrestlers, one thing that we go to towards the end of the interview, but screw it, we're already there. Oh. What is a cheat meal for Raquel Rodriguez post match?
Oh, post match. I love to try and find a big order of fajitas, chicken fajitas, steak fajitas, and then it comes with the tortillas, so you can kind of tacos. But if the place looks like they have really good enchiladas, then I order the enchiladas verdes with the green salsa on top. They just hit the spot every time. And it also depends. I might have a sweet tooth, so maybe I gotta get like a cookie or some churros or something while I'm at it too. That's a big cheat meal for me, but I love all of that. And I'll eat it.
Wait a minute. On that note, I used to get some sweet tamales from the Mexican place down the hill with the raisins and the nuts, and that was insane. If you got a sweet tooth, I know you know about the sweet tamales.
Oh yes, my grandma makes. So my grandma actually used to sell tamales, and she can bust them out dozens by the dozens and sell them around the neighborhood and whatnot. And she would make the sweet tamales with the raisins. So I know exactly what you're talking about. And I brought this up to a few people too, and they never know. And I'm like, you guys, maybe it's just a Texas thing or something, but these sweet tamales.
No. I introduced it to my kids when I lived in California, and they stumbled onto it. I would get like 2 dozen of them at Christmas time. Yeah. And then, people would come by, I'd throw them at them, and the kids would eat them. And it's like, where did this come from? Tamales are hot and they got, greasy meat and stuff in it. But you get a good tamale, you found something very special.
Oh, yeah. And I know my grandma already started making them because I was just home in Texas the last weekend for my niece's birthday. And sure enough, she was going to her sister's house and they were making tamales. So they better have saved me some. I told
you a little while ago, you were making the tamales and you act like you know how to do this.
The tamales are very different. Grandma doesn't do measurements. So I've seen her make these so many times. Every Christmas, it was our family tradition. We would have all the women line up and they start with the masa on the corn husk, the meat, the rolling. I was only ever allowed to do the rolling because you really have to have a technique to spread that masa on the corn husk. But my grandma, when she's making the mixture for the masa or for the meat or whatever, she doesn't measure anything. She just kind of eyeballs it all. She'll taste a little bit and she's like, maybe a little bit more salt, and that's it. So you just never know.
My grandma used to make the absolute best dinner rolls, and we could sit there and watch her. And she would sit there and talk to us, and a pinch of this and a pinch of that. Then she'd rub it in the butter, and the way she flipped it into the pan was it was artwork, and it would fall, and people would take numbers and stand in line to get pans of her dinner rolls. They were incredible.
They know what those abuelitas. They know.
Yeah.
Yes, they do. Well, I was here under this assumption that your dad was one of the biggest influences in your life. Sounds like grandma's right up there. Who in your family has been one of the most iconic people for you to date?
Definitely my father, but yes, my grandmother too, because she did raise me and my cousins and watch us over time. So I learned so much from her, but the person that I always wanted to be like, the person that I always looked up to, the person that I could go to for anything and talk to has been my father. He's been my rock, my ride or die. He's supported me with whatever decision I made in life. He never pushed me into basketball. It was something that I just kind of fell into watching him coach the team at my school. And he realized, this is something I really wanted to do. So he would take off weekends, or he'd work extra, or he'd do double shifts just to drive me 4 hours to San Antonio or Houston or Dallas, wherever we had to go to meet recruiters for college or to in these big AAU tournaments. So I've taken so much time with my dad. We've been on the road together. And even now when we go on road trips, it's like, this feels like old times when I would ride with you to your shows or you would come with me to my basketball games.
No, that's cool. Those are good memories. We're talking with Raquel Rodriguez, WWE fighter, and we were talking a little bit about basketball, though. You playing basketball in college is serious business. Were you recruited by any WNBA teams, or were you always just knowing once college is done, I'm going to go into UFC, WWE?
Yes, I was always just knowing. And it was because I had this deal with my dad. I wanted to be a wrestler as a very, very small girl. And at the time, it was much different for women. So he was like very adamant about me going to college, graduating college, and getting my education. So I did that. I fell in love with basketball, which was really, really great because it was my avenue into a university. And basically got me what I needed to get. So once I was able to graduate, I told my dad on that day, I said, remember when you said if I finished college, I could pursue wrestling? And of course, he knew it was coming. So he was like, yep, I know, so he just started to support me from there. And he would go with me to trainings. He would train me. He would get in the ring with me until I finally got my opportunity for a WWE tryout and made my way to NXT. So I know he's excited and proud of everything I've accomplished this far. And I know we both talk about it all the time, but it's just the beginning. So we're just elated to see what's next,
Hey, Dad, what are you going to buy at the store today?
I'm out of Lucas Oil fuel treatment, so let's jump in here and grab us some.
Well, do they have the Lucas Oil parts cleaner and degreaser?
I bet they do.
Well, how about the Lucas Oil power steering fluid?
They'll have that too.
Even the octane booster?
I won't be surprised if they do.
My favorite red and tacky grease?
Yes, they will, babe.
Dad, when we're done, can we grab some candy?
Deal, but you gotta share.
Awesome! Lucas works.
You just said you were in the ring with your dad. How awkward is that? I mean, you're taking punches from your dad. You're punching your dad.
Now, thankfully, my dad was more of just trying to show me a little bit of his move set, his style, stuff that I could kind of take on and make my own so that I could keep that tradition alive. So no, Dad wasn't punching me or anything.
Freak Nation is called Saturday Night's Main Event. And if you're in Phoenix, be sure you check it out. It's coming up at the Footprint Center on Saturday night. We will tweet this out and put it on our Instagram post where you can get your tickets. Frankly, you can go to WWE.com and find your links to where you can buy tickets for it in Phoenix. Again, it's Saturday night's main event. Numerous WWE superstars, Liv Morgan, Gunther, Drew's going to be there, including this young woman that we have in here right now, Raquel Rodriguez, here in the Freak Nation. And Raquel, I've got an 8-year-old daughter that she wants to wrestle. And she's a badass, man. She's not afraid, but if in something else, she goes, Daddy, I'm just a little. When she comes to wrestling, man, she could beat this old man's ass. Were you the same way with your dad?
My dad would say I was very relentless. He said I would not back down. And I think that's proof in where I am in my career right now, because I've been trying to ask him for this opportunity to do this since I can remember. The day I was born, my father was out wrestling, so it was meant to be for me. So I would just say you have a very, very fiery young daughter, and I'm so excited to see what she's going to do, because with that much passion, the sky's the limit.
We've had a number of wrestlers here in the Freak Nation, and I think the last wrestler we had, well, he wasn't wrestling at the time, was talking about his academy, was Shawn Michaels. And it just seems whenever I get a wrestler in here, I got to go old school, because the Sportatorium and where I grew up in Dallas-Fort Worth, the history of wrestling just seemed to center around. There was that little vein that would go Dallas up into Oklahoma City. And it just seemed I would always end up talking about the Von Erichs. And I don't know if your dad was old enough to wrestle against one of the Von Erichs, but when you talk about Von Erichs and Texas wrestling, that was the creme de la creme. Are you old enough? Do you know the history of the Von Erichs when it comes to wrestling?
I do. And my dad did work with the Von Erichs. He's been wrestling since before I was born. He did have an opportunity. I believe I have a photo with one of the Von Erichs as well that my sister just sent me from one of the shows, because we would go up to Dallas as well. And my dad actually was one of the first students for Shawn Michaels' school at TWA in San Antonio, Texas. So we were very much involved in that little circle. Maybe I saw you at a show. I was the little girl.
No, you were not.
Back any memories?
No, that was the 55,000 in the old Texas Stadium with the Von Erichs and the cage match with anyway, I could go on, and I don't want to drag it into that craziness. Can you tell us when you got that call from WWE that we want to bring you into NXT or work you through the system to be on a bill like we're going to see Saturday night in Phoenix?
When I first got the call about signing with WWE and becoming a WWE superstar, I was actually changing my oil. So I was just sitting outside minding my own business. I get the call and I immediately broke down in tears, was so excited. I tried to keep it together on that specific phone call, but the minute we hung up, called my dad and just let it all out. And we both kind of cried together, but we were just so excited because it was like everything was just falling into place at a very fast pace. So I was absolutely just prepared to drop whatever it is I was doing in Texas and just go and put it all in And I'm actually very proud of myself for just doing that and moving so far away from home and being able to consistently push myself in this very difficult business. But honestly, I know my dad's proud of me, and I'm just so excited to keep trying to make him prouder.
Whatever you do, General Tire delivers.
I'm told you worked like 5 years in what could be considered the minor leagues of wrestling. Tell me what that's like. Is it like minor league baseball, the bus rides and the dingy gyms and all of the craziness that, that like in the movies you see that these guys are out there doing stupid stuff?
I wouldn't say we were doing stupid stuff. We definitely didn't have too many bus rides unless we were out of the state. But being a part of NXT really helped shape me into the performer I am today, because I got to learn from so many amazing minds: Norman Smiley, Scotty Too Hottie, Robbie Brookside, Sarah Amato, Matt Bloom. And so I picked up all these different flavors of wrestling from everyone to create my own, in a sense, as well as bringing in what my father taught me. But we did have some wild card to some of the local towns in Florida. Rhea Ripley and I used to go and try and play jokes on people if we could. We had sing-along moments. I tried with Raul, who's actually he's a part of La Legado del Toro, and he's my really, really good friend. So I've made so many friendships in this business for 5 or 6 years, and it's crazy how quickly the time flies when you're really just having fun.
Well, you got to tell us one of the jokes. You can't just drop that out there. You got to tell us one of the jokes, that first thing that comes to your mind. Don't think about it.
Well, we did this Christmas, we both had the Grinch hat. So we went around the show during Christmas and we were just playing little pranks on people, trying to be the Grinch for Christmas, away candies. We tried to catch one of the referees at one point, but then he ended up wrapping us up, wrapping paper. There's just silly stuff like that, making the time fly and making the best out of it. So it was just a lot of fun.
How can you not love her? Thank you so much for this interview. This is so awesome.
That I gotta know. I'm sorry, Crash. I gotta know this. In doing the research for this interview, I came across a lot of pictures, obviously, on YouTube and Google around. Every one of them, if I look at 10 pictures, I can see 11 different looks for Raquel Rodriguez. You do not look the same from image to image. How do you manage that? I mean, where does that come from? When you showed up for the interview today, you look nothing like the last 5 pictures that I saw. What's that about?
I did go through a transformation from when I first signed with WWE till now. I will say that I was under the name Reina Gonzalez, and then I was under the name Raquel Gonzalez. And I came in as a bodyguard. I was a little bit of a bad guy in the beginning, so I had a different look to myself. Now I'm a little bit more of a good guy, so my image has changed. But because, to me, it doesn't feel too frequently. But yeah, it has happened in such a short period of time. But it's still me. Don't worry. I'm still here.
I know you got to, Raquel. I know you got to run. Adam's sending me messages. We got to get the hell out of here. But look, you had me at your changing oil.
I know.
Lucas Oil is our official oil of the Freak Nation. That's beautiful. We said they had me at changing my oil. That's badass.
Yes.
Wow. Well, fellow alum, my Bearcat with a K. This is awesome. Good luck to you, and we just might see you Saturday night here in Phoenix. All right.
Yes, sir. And you can get your tickets at Ticketmaster.com Footprint Center. So I hope to see you guys. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.